it don't happen. No be only me go see this one. Guys, take a look at this headline. It says terror suspects, financiers linked to powerful Nigerians including Malami, ex-army chiefs, Emefiele, Major General Ali-Keffi. Guys, no be small thing they happen for Nigeria. Guys, lately the federal government promised to release the names of people financing terrorism in Nigeria. And guys, not for us to see these headlines, reported by Sahara reporters, guys, and Nigerians has reacted saying, don't just come out and expose them. Follow them up with arrest immediately. Arrest them immediately. Guys, somebody even said that, Tinubu, if it's the only thing he can do for Nigerians by exposing these people that are financing terrorism is enough. Guys, let me take you through some reactions. This person said, the truth is coming out small. The vital question is this: if those that proscribed IPOB and kidnapped nnamdi Kanu are now linked to real terror financing, is it not obvious that nnamdi Kanu is the good guy? Can the citizens demand for his release? Good men are seen as terror by those who finance terrorism and the terrorists. What's your takes, guys? You can imagine. See, Kanu has been saying this thing for a long time now. He has been preaching to Nigerians. Now, they went to arrest him because he spoke, guys. If the people that proscribed IPOB and nnamdi Kanu, a terrorist organization or a terrorist, if they are not linked to terrorism financiers, is it not clear and obvious to you that that man is innocent? Guys, another person said, I just hope this isn't another political witch hunt. We have been discussing the issue of terror financing since the Buhari administration. Now that a new government is in power, the names you mentioned all seems to belong to people who are not on good terms with the current administration. Another person said, of course, we know all these things. Anyone that pretends not to know is a joker. We shy away from the truth in this country. What of Kaduna shots man devil? They know what they are doing. So guys, Nigerians are reacting to this. Guys, let me allow you to watch this video. Drop your thoughts under the comment section. Let me know what you're saying on this headline. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and share this video.
For more on this, we have Major General John Nnamdi retired, who was the former pioneer director, Defense Media Operations at the Defense Headquarters and former commander, Army War College, in the studio with us. Great to have you.
Thank you.
So you've seen all that is happening, and now there is an international dimension to it, with the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern by the United States. Now, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the State Department will apply sanctions to individuals particularly involved in promoting extremism and violence, and that could include visa ban. How would you respond to this, and do you believe this helps in the general fight against insecurity in Nigeria?
Thank you for that question. My response to that specifically is that if there are individuals that have been identified through intelligence sources, amongst others, that are sponsoring or supporting all these insecurity situations we have in this country, if the United States imposes visa restrictions among others for them, to me it is the right step in the direction that we have found ourselves and situation we have found ourselves in this country now. So I subscribe to that.
Okay, well, speaking about the newly appointed Minister of Defense, General Musa, he says that he will make Nigeria safer. So in practical terms, what indicators do you think Nigerians should use to judge his performance in, say, the next 6 to 12 months?
I think we will be in a hurry to begin to talk about judging him. Why am I saying so? Because General Musa, to me, is the best choice for the appointment in the situation we have found ourselves. I'm saying that, premising it on the background that I was privileged to have him as one of my key informants during my PhD research. Himself, General Rabo, and I interviewed them. It was a historical research, and they came out point blank. And at the end of the day, I realized that's from my inference that the new Minister of Defense is well packaged and prepared. Like I just had somebody saying square peg in a square hole. Why am I saying so? For the research I realized and I discovered that there has been a disconnect. The topic of the research was military management and national security in Nigeria. I took the Nigerian Army as a case study to represent all the other members of, the arms of the armed forces, Navy and the Air Force. And there has been an issue with the political management and national security in Nigeria. Now that he's transiting from the military, because we discussed and I took his points alongside other service chiefs and key informants and then came up with my recommendations. Yes, to give him a timeline, say within 6 months. I think for me, 6 months is quite a short time to measure his achievement, because there has to be a convergence of political management for national security and military management. I can tell you that Musa is good and fine Parker when it comes to military management, because we saw the challenges here, which does not come together with that of the political challenge. So now that he's with them, he's more or less like a politician now. They should be able to listen to him, and if they listen to him, I tell you, it can be handled in a very short time, but not 6 months. 6 months is just 6 months. That is, we are talking about May next year. There has to be a lot of things that should be done. From my research, I came up with a package, because he is aware, he knows it. The strategy of Nigerian Army strategy in the Northeast, is decimate, dominate, and occupy. 2015 to 2016, the Nigerian Army decimated. They dominated, but they could not occupy. He knows the challenges, and more of those challenges were more or less political. The only thing that was done was the purchase or procurement of kanu for the Air Force and all that, but all the other ones are still there. So I am believing and trusting God that he will now present it and make it so that the political will, the political management and military management will come together, and then we can be talking of something after a year or 2 or 3. Thank you.
General Eneche, you said you did research on Nigeria's security threats. And also yesterday we saw a robust session, and we saw a brilliant outlining of Nigeria's contemporary security threats by both the Minister of Defense designate and even members of the National Assembly. And yesterday, coincidentally, we had a NEC meeting, but unfortunately, there was only an approval of the 100 billion for security training, which is quite important. But people were disappointed that they were yet to take a stand on state policing. With all this back and forth, it's quite obvious that the solution to Nigeria's insecurity problem is not lost in public space. So would you say there is clear absence of political will in driving these solutions?
As it were, my PhD was a doctoral research. The field work was almost 2 years. It took me 4 years, 3 years plus thereabout to get that doctorate degree. And it came out clear. What do we when you say you conceptualize political will, that is what, when you say you back it up with action. That is in very simple and clear terms. As far back as like we have known, over 2 decades, and it has come to a point that the people in active service now may not be able to say that. It will be said but not done.
What do you make of the NEC meeting not being able to come up with a voice on state policing?
That is, at this point, I think I will have to come out openly and say I commend the outline in the terms of the state of emergency on security. The state policing is very, very vital. What are we talking about? Talk about homeland security. You talk about driving policing down to the grassroots. So if NEC is at variance with what the commander-in-chief has said, has suggested, he said, look, states that are open, let them go ahead. For me, it is quite unfortunate. that means such situation is that they are not coming to terms with the reality on the ground, which is not supposed to be so. And if you do that, the Minister of Defense is going to have problem in the sense that we need a police. He's not Minister of Police. We need a police at various levels, at the various echelons of local government policing, which is a package on its own. Then you now talk about the state. If it is implemented at the state, then the states can now empower. So I don't think for me it is a decision that will go down with me as a Nigerian now that is feeling the brunt of what is happening.
All right, still on that NEC meeting, 100 billion naira was approved for the training of police, for the rehabilitation of police training institutions and other security agencies as well. Give me your assessment of that policy and whether you think it will make much difference, or how much difference do you think it will make?
My reservation in this regard is about the figure mentioned vis-a-vis the current purchasing power or procurement. In whichever way anybody will look at it, 100 billion. It's not trillion, 100 billion. It's a lot of money, but what impact will it make? So that is my reservation.
So you're saying it's not sufficient? For
me, yes. It's not sufficient. The other day, the 19 northern governors, they went for a meeting, and I overheard them say every month they want to get 1 billion naira for security. So I think with all due respect to where we have found ourselves economically, I don't think if you say billion now, if you equate billion to what it was just a couple of years ago, so the money should be ample enough.
So what amount would you recommend?
Well, I will not recommend because I am constrained. I don't have the resources at my disposal, and I don't have the reason to contribute to that aspect. But what I can say is that it is not enough.
Okay, well, that's fine. Now, another thing that Musa said was that there'd be no more ransom payments. Now, in the past weeks, we've been having reports, especially about the Kebbi State girls who were abducted and then released. And it was said that they were released due to negotiations. This came to light after bandits, released a video saying that the government had actually negotiated with their commanders. What do you say about this? Balancing the act of the two, of what happened before and what now Musa is saying about there being no negotiations that will go on.
I align myself completely with Musa. Why am I saying so? I have been involved and monitored the situation whereby you bring the ransom, they will ask for more. They are not sincere people, and they can never be sincere. And at the end, they end up killing the people. While I was in service, it happened to an officer, a colonel. Bring motorcycle, bring ransom. So the way out of this is to come up with our indigenous homeland security whereby we use locals. These people are trackable. They are traceable when you use the real locals. Now, what am I talking about? They will track them, follow them to the forest, to everywhere, and tackle them. In that way, there's no ransom payment. It will, because I've had a situation, I think about some months ago, whereby in a community, they consulted me. And what we did was to ensure we trained them, groomed them, and then they went and started trekking. And after that, for the past 6 months, nothing there again.
So if they're trackable, then where's the FG going wrong? Because,
you see, we have local collaborators in the villages that work with them. They share the ransom, so-called, in quote, with them. The other day, you had, maybe, if you, I don't know whether you follow the news, somewhere in Benue State, where a local security operative connived with them, and he was arrested. So in that way, if you continue to pay ransom, it will never. We have been paying ransom, people have been paying ransom. Has it ended? The answer is no. So we now take our destiny in our hands, indigenous homeland security. In short, my company is packaging something like that, civil security services, and I'm open to dialoguing with anybody, any organization, any government, any state, even with the CDS. We need to do that. Ransom payment is out of it.
Okay, the big question that have surrounded issues of surrounding terrorist war against terrorism is, who are we fighting with? The real profiling of the identity that the country contends with. And this comes at the background of this narrative that there have been over time the infiltration of terrorist and bandit elements into the nation's security and defense architecture. And some top officers have denied this, but when you look at the explanation given, they said that because there are military recruitment officers at every recruitment exercise, and they also engage local native authorities. Are the local native authorities sufficiently equipped to profile a terrorist gang or a terrorist element? Because a lot of people strongly believe that when you look at some of the happenings in the war against terrorism and banditry, the killing of some Nigerian soldiers, and also the big question that was asked at the National Assembly yesterday, which is still being unanswered, who ordered the withdrawal of security forces barely 24 hours to the abduction that was done in Kebbi. So where do you stand in this question, if there are indeed infiltration of bandit elements and terrorist elements in the nation's security and defense architecture?
This question, to answer it, is let us look at life generally. In every 12 disciple, there will always be a Judas. And the military, for me, is not exempted from that. I will not absolve my constituency completely of that, because we are human beings. And what do they use? There are inducements and things to use to entice people. You have heard on the news where some were arrested because they are selling arms, ammunition and all that. It's the same thing. So for there to be a situation whereby soldiers, security personnel mounted at a duty post were withdrawn hours, well, it calls for what? Suspicion and investigation. That I would say, and that is supposed to be the best practice. Okay,
let's pivot a little bit from what we've been talking about. We've seen reports that a lot of young Nigerians are shying away from joining the army, especially from the south. Let me quickly share a data. Regular recruits intake earlier this year, they had northern states like Kaduna and Borno. Thousands applied despite ongoing conflicts in that region. But in the south, the numbers have been dropping and continue to drop. Lagos recorded a 29% decrease, River State 30%, Delta 38%, Enugu and Abia similar figures. Can you speak to this based on your experience in the force, because you also need to have younger people join the forces?
Yes, I will speak. I'm happy and I thank God for the privilege of having an undertaking a PhD program. I went down years. I reviewed 278 books and journals put together, and it came out clear from the beginning, from the early days, the history of the Nigerian army particularly. We didn't used to have rush for the army from the east. Then following that is the west. But the highest, as we are from record, if you maintain it with the data I have, is actually from the north. And it has still remained, so then you now come to the middle belt. That is the middle belt and all, Hausa Constabulary and all that. So it's something like, it's a trend. In short, at a point they had to convince them, with serious conviction.
Because we're almost out of time. Quickly, why do you think this is happening very quickly?
Because it has been there in that region. Simple. It has been, history tells me, and it is still true. It's difficult.
So guys, many people are beginning to see that IPOB or nnamdi Kanu is innocent, guys. Let me take you through some more reactions coming from Nigerian concerning this revelation. So this person said, if this fact-finding mission starts from last administration, then we are not serious about the insecurity in Nigeria. The findings must start from the Jonathan Goodluck to the Tinubu's administration. Then another person said, it keeps getting near to home. Nigeria needs to push criminality as well as reward service to country. Then the other one said, funny how they are doing anything possible to deflect from the terrorist ravaging Middle Belt and other parts of Nigeria. Boko Haram is not the only terrorist in Nigeria. This person is trying to say that, you see, Boko Haram, they're not the only terrorists. There are terrorists plenty for Nigeria apart from Boko Haram. And then this other one said, there will always be conflict of interest if the people at the forefront in the fight against Islamic terrorists are also Muslims, especially in the armed force as commanders and intel officers. Serious conflicts of interest and may be the reason we have been running in circles. Then this other person said, please come out clearly with this publication. It's getting interesting but lacking tangible substance to establish the fact for legal public consumption. Guys, Nigerians are reacting to this. Then let me take you through what this person said. Another one said, if ex-AGF Malami's name is on the list of alleged terrorist sponsors, I'm not surprised. The way he hates other regions and the way Buhari gave him a free hand to do the undoable shows they have something in common. The day the FG kidnapped Kanu, he announced it in Hausa. Anybody that doesn't know that Malami, Pantami, and Buratai are into the game is plainly ignorant or chooses to be blind. Then another one said, I will say it now and still in the future that Buhari was responsible for Nigerians' fate today. High rates of Fulani attacks and the other spread of terrorism occasioned by Boko Haram activities to other parts of the country. He knew all these things, but yet rewarded Buratai with ambassador. Wow, guys, a lot is going on in the country. Another one said, coalition of criminals. One arrested nnamdi Kanu. One suggested he be jailed for his own presidential ambition. One is allegedly funding them. Criminals. Guys, imagine criminals everywhere. Even top people allegedly have been listed as people that are financing these bad guys. Another one said, can we be serious for once and get these guys arrested and persecute them immediately? I hope they won't play politics and fold it under the carpet again. Many Nigerians are saying that these people should be arrested immediately, that they should not sweep it under the carpet. Another one said, what amazed me is Nigerians have been asking for who are the powerful people behind this Boko Haram, bandits, kidnapping, etc. Blaming the government is shielding them. Now governments are just releasing a tip of the iceberg because it's some people's favorite. They begin to scream. What if they trace it too? So guys, many people also trying to say that, you know, Trump just started everything. Trump, like, will I say, put pressure, just like Babio said that Trump is already in Nigerians' neck, like he's already in our necks. So you can see Trump is the one that is kind of urging them because they were relaxed in the insecurity going on. Just like I said lately, the federal government said it's planning to expose those people that are into terrorism financiers. And guys, immediately we saw this news. How true is this? Guys, let me know your thoughts under the comment section. Drop a comment below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and share this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.